What's up, people? We're back, and today we're going to be testing another currency pair. I think today we're going to be doing the Audi CAD, and we'll see if our algorithm could stand up to this chart. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. All right, cool. So we're here on the Audi CAD chart. I got the same indicators as the last two videos. In our first video is the GBP USD, and we did pretty well on there where we won the majority of our trades. And then we did, I believe, the Euro New Zealand, and it totally demolished my algorithm and we lost a lot. So now we're on the Audi CAD, the Australian dollar and the Canadian dollar currency pair, and we're gonna test and see how our algorithm does this time. So we got the same thing, baseline, our up and down arrows, which let us know whether to go long or go short, which is the same as this one. So every time it crosses this midway line, it will give us an arrow up here. So we'll just go by that. Got the rune up and down, and also got the absolute strength histogram for our third indicator. So with that being said, let's just jump into it. And this time I do got a scorekeeper. So we're gonna try to see what win to loss ratio is. We're gonna start where all of our indicators come into play. The rune starts here. So right off the bat, we see a long signal, and on top of that, it's above a baseline. We don't get full confirmation from the rune till about here, along with the absolute strength. The ATR at that point is 55, so we're gonna see if we could even get to our first oh, look at that, it says 50. We got to like 51, 52. It drops down to 89 right after that. So that might have been a loss right there, right? Because 55, half of 55 is 25. So if we would have did 1.5 times the ATR, then it would have been 75, and it went 86 pips. So right off the bat, that's a loss. Well, okay. Now we go here. Baseline tells us to look for shorts. We get a first indicator tells us to go short here. The rune tells us to go short here, and the absolute strength also agrees, and we get in there, get 125 pips out of it on a 57 ATR day. So that would have been a win. Oh, let me calculate. So we did lose that first one. So we're gonna add one there and add one there. So we're 1-to-1 right now. All right, so we're gonna keep going. We get a buy signal here to go long, but our rune disagrees, so does the absolute strength, so we don't get into that. And then we do get a sell signal here, but the rune doesn't cross over, so I don't think we're going to take that bet again, because it's not necessarily a continuation trade. But if we would have and got in there, we would have, it depends. If we would have got in just because of that arrow, we would have won, but I don't think I would have taken it, because I would have liked the rune to cross over again before we get into a continuation trade. So moving on to that, we get a long signal here. The rune also agrees, so there's the absolute strength, and that goes up 76 pips, 75, 76 pips on the 67 pip ATR. So that would have been a win. We're gonna chalk that up as a win. Boom. We keep going. We get a sell signal here, but the rune disagrees. And then we get a flip right here, but the rune didn't flip over. The rune didn't cross each other right here, but it gave us another flip to go long. So there's the first confirmation indicator. But if we followed the same rules and didn't get into it back here because of that, then we probably wouldn't have gotten into it there, which sucks because we would have won. That would have been a nice little win right there. And then we get in here. Everything tells us to go short. We get the short signal on our first confirmation, second confirmation on the rune, plus the histogram tells us to go short here. That would have been an immediate loss the very next day. So let's chalk that one up as a loss. So far we're 2-2. We get a long signal here on our first indicator, but the rune disagrees until about here. So if we get in here, this is about 7 days, but I think the rule that we have implemented is our first confirmation indicator plus our second confirmation indicator both have to tell us that it's 7+ days before we consider a bridge too far. But since the rune just barely crossed over the day before, we are going to take this trade, and that seems like it's going to work out for a win, a big win actually, 288 pips, and then we would have exited pretty much at our break even over here. So let's chalk that up. Hopefully we keep remembering to add these wins and losses to the scoreboard. Okay, and then we get a short signal here. It goes below the baseline, but the rune doesn't agree. So does the absolute strength until here. We got all systems go. We get a little bit of a retracement, about 30 pips, and then we eventually win out around here. It goes down like 150 something, and then retraces back here. We probably would have hit our trailing stop by then. If not, it would have been nice because we would have made all this, and then our exit indicator, which is our first confirmation indicator, would have told us to get out about here. So we would have exited about here, which is also, so let's chalk that up as a win before I forget. Boom. And that also gives us the signal to look for longs. You see we're above the baseline now. So we get into about here is when the rune crosses over, right? And then we definitely hit, let's see, that's about 80 pips right there. The ATR of that day was 53, so we would have at least hit our first, and then we would have hit our break even. So, which is fine, but kind of sucks because we would have missed out on all of this. You know what I mean? So, but we will chalk that up as a win. So far we got 5 wins to 2. All right, now we cross below the baseline here. We get a short sell signal from our first confirmation indicator, but don't get a second confirmation until the rune crosses here. And then this is still 7 days, so we probably would have taken that because of the rules we have in place. And that went down to as low as 59 pips, 57, we'll say. It looks like it's about 59, possibly 60. So, but the ATR on that day, let's see if we would have got in there, it was 63. So we would have got in here at the bottom of that, wouldn't have made it there. We wouldn't have hit our take profit. If we would have bounced all the way back here, that's 92 pips. So half of 63 or half of 60, if we round it off, is about 30. And so if we add that to 60, which is 1.5 times the ATR as our risk, we probably would have just stopped out right there, because this goes up to about 95. So, but maybe that extra 63 pips could have helped, or extra 3 pips on this 63 ATR, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of tough to say, because it also depends on what time we got in on that candle. But I don't know. That's hard to tell if we would have made it. But if we would have, that would have been a nice little win. I don't know. That's hard to say. That's very hard to say on whether or not we got in. So do we count it as a win or do we count it as a loss? That's the thing. I'm not too sure. We might just chalk it up as, let's chalk it up as a loss. You know what I mean? Because that's too risky. But that would have been a nice win. If it would have been a win, then great. That's more of a bonus. It would have been a really nice win too. Only if we got in like the day before, like right there, we would have been good. But since we got in probably here, depending on what time where the candle was at when it closed, we probably would have got stopped out. But if not, we would have made a nice little profit all the way up into here where our exit indicator tells us to get out. Plus it crosses over the baseline. Everything but the rune tells us to go long here. So thankfully we didn't. And then this crosses, but the rune never crossed back over. So we probably wouldn't have taken that, which sucks again, because that would have been a win right there. Even if we got in right here as soon as we got that red candle, that would have been a win. So, but since we stayed out of it, then yeah, maybe that's a rule we could probably implement. If it crosses over the baseline, plus that's 2 indicators telling us to go short. So, and this is already short, so maybe we might be able to consider it as a continuation trade. I don't know yet. We'll test it on other pairs. If it seems to be a continuing factor and seems like we're winning even with those rules in play, then maybe we could add it into our system. But moving on, we get a flip right here to go long, but the rune also doesn't disagree. The rune disagrees, so we wouldn't get into that, which sucks because that possibly could have been a win, but also, you know, could have been a loss. But yeah, everything but the rune agrees, so it kept us out on that one. But we do get a signal here. The rune crosses blue here, technically here. Let's see how many. This is 8 days, but the rune gave us the signal the day before. So like I said, our rule that we have placed so far is both our first and second confirmation indicator have to be more than 7 days in order for us to consider it a bridge too far. And the reason why I'm doing that is because when I backtested it on the other pairs, when the rune gave us a signal like right before, even though our first confirmation indicator told us like a couple days ago, we still ended up winning. And it seems like it's continuing to happen here. So if we would have got in here, it would have been a nice win right there. It would have been a nice win. We would have exited out about here on that day. So that would have been a 280 pip win right there, which would have been nice. And then it also tells us to sell here. So after we exit, we'll be looking for sell signals. We're just waiting for the rune to catch up. The rune catches up here. It goes back about 50 pips. And then look at this. We get this huge, this is probably where one of the crashes happened. This was in end of 2018, beginning of 2019. It looks like January 2nd, 2019. That would have been a quick candle crash right there, but we would have been on the winning side of that. So that's nice. That's nice. That's why we play the long game. We trade the way the bankers would, because we would have been on the winning side of a huge candle crash, because it just went all the way down and came back up. And yeah, dang, when we see things like that, that's scary. I know we're supposed to stay out of like a pair for a minute when something like that happens, because it throws the ATR off. But I forgot to count these wins. Well, I know we didn't count this, right? We didn't count this because we might have gotten stopped out. Yeah, so but we did. What did we count? We counted this right here, right? So that's 1 win right there, and then that's 2 wins there. See, I forget. I'd be forgetting. That's 2 wins, right? Oh no, I hate this counter. What? How do I add another one, man? Maybe we just gotta keep doing it like this. Boom. That sucks. You need to give us space to add. All right, so 1 win. So that would have been 1 win there, 1 win there. I think I added 2, right? Let's hope that calculation is right. If not, then I don't know. As long as we win more than we lose, then cool. All right, so continuing on, we are right here. Things start to go haywire because this crash kind of, you know, throws the algorithm off. We're looking for shorts here. There wasn't a continuation trade because of the rune. Didn't cross over until about, it gives us a sell signal or a buy signal here. Everything but our first indicator doesn't flip until here. So it flips here, but the absolute strength, but now we're below the baseline 1, and on top of that the rune agrees, but the absolute strength does it. And then we get a flip right here, which is, you know, a good thing, I guess. Let's see what happens after. The rune agrees on this candle, and then everything else agrees on that candle. The very next day we get 100 pips right there. The ATR at the time is 57, so that would be a win, right? I would think so. So that's a win. Continuing on from there, let's see, nothing. We get a buy signal there, we're above. We get a full confirmation about here. So the ATR at this day is 76. We go down about 61 pips, which wouldn't have hit our stop loss, but, and then eventually get up to 100. So we would have won right there too. Oh man, so far we're looking good. What is that? We got 9 wins to 3 losses right now. Okay. So we're there. Let's keep going. We get a flip to start looking for shorts. The baseline tells us so. And then the first confirmation tells us so. And then here, the rune finally agrees along with the absolute strength. And then we go down about 50 pips right there. Let's see, the ATR on this day was 53 pips. If we got in at the top of this candle, it does go down to like 60 pips. So we probably would have hit our first take profit and then broke even. So we would have only gotten away with 1%. and then before we hit our break even, which kind of sucks because it kept running after this, and we would have made more and then eventually got out probably about here, or no, about here. So not too much of an extra loss, but it would have been nice because our trailing stop might have took us out somewhere earlier than that. So we'll take that as a win though, because we would have got that 1%, just that small win. We get a buy signal here, but the rune disagrees, so we're not getting into it, which is a good thing because that would have been a loss. And then the rune switches here. We looking for shorts right here. First confirmation tells us to go. The rune not yet. Second confirmation tells us to get in here. We get in here. Boom. That's 100 pips right there. I'm pretty sure that's a win. Yep. The ATR at that day was 41 pips, so we would have won there. We would have won there. So far we look like we're doing all right, guys. We're doing all right. This is way better than the last chart that we did. Okay, so now we're looking for buys. We're looking for buys. Boom. We get in here. Everything agrees here. We're above the baseline. This would have been a loss. For sure would have been a loss. Our exit indicator would have told us to get out here. So that would have been a loss, which is fine. We're 11-4. It's fine. And then it switches to sell signals. We're below the baseline. First confirmation plus the rune and the absolute strength all tell us to go on this candle. Boom, 130 pips right there. And then we would have came back to our break even about right here on the 6th day, I guess. Yeah, so that would have been a win. ATR at that moment was 52. So we'll take it. We'll take these small wins. Okay, and then indicator switch to longs here, but the rune disagrees. Now we're looking for shorts, but the rune never crossed over, so we're not going to get into that trade. And then we get long signals here on this day. Everything, we get our first confirmation indicator, second, and the absolute strength tells us to go. And then boom, we get in here. Easily a win right there. 130 pips on a 54 pip entry. So we would have hit our first take profit and then some. And man, I'm running out of space on this counter right here. So let's take that as a win. That was that over here. All right, now we're looking for shorts right here. Rune disagrees up until here, until this day. If we get in there, luckily, looks like this is a win right here. 84 pips right there on a 54 entry day. So that would have been a win. Oh my god, this algorithm might be all right. This algorithm might be all right. It's back testing pretty well. Okay, so we got longs here. The rune disagrees up until here. Let's see. This is tricky because the rune tells us to go. We are within the 7-day bridge too far, and that would have been a loss. We most likely would have taken that. As soon as we got in, we would have taken that. And either way, even if we waited another day, yeah, that would have been a loss. I know for sure. I most likely would have taken that, which is fine. And then we're looking for shorts. Nope. Everything disagrees. The rune disagrees, so we stay out of that trade. It flips long here, which is tough because I mean the rune never crossed back over, so we wouldn't consider a continuation trade, so we would have stayed out of that. It tells us to go short here, but everything else disagrees until about here. It crosses here. Now, do we take that bet? Okay, so we're 6 candles away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, we're on the 7th candle. But I think we would have taken this. We would have hit 31 pips right there. The ATR on that day was 43, so we would have lost that. We would have lost, which is fine. All right, so continuing from there, it might be a little hard for you guys to see on this because this right here, but I'll try to do my best to explain where we're at. We're looking for buys. Nope, we didn't get our first buy signal yet because we still had the red. It never flipped on the first indicator to go long. Not until here. Not until here. So the first one. So, I mean, I feel like, would we have taken this? Would we have taken this? We probably would have taken that. Because, like I said, both the our first and second confirmation have to go long, or have to be 7 days past in order for us to consider it a bridge. But now it's just seeing that and knowing that we could have stayed out of it. Maybe we only consider it if the Arun tells us like the day before, you know what I mean? But if we followed that rule, we'd lose. So let's take that up as a loss. So far we're 14-7. All right, so here we're looking for buys. It never crossed over on the rune, so we probably we wouldn't have taken that, and we probably would. That was a 52 pip difference, and the ATR was 64. So, which is cool. We would have stayed out of it, and most likely wouldn't have lost. But this is where it gets tricky, right here. Boom. On this candle, everything tells us to go short. This retraces 100 pips. This retraces all the way back to 108. The ATR at that time was 50. So yeah, we only had about 75 pips. The losses are finally catching up to us, guys. All right, and then, which kind of sucks because it does eventually, after it stops everybody out, it does go down, but we don't ever get a re-entry from the rune. It kind of does, but doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, well, we're just gonna have to chalk those up as losses. And then there's another one right here. Look at this. Everything agrees. We finally get above the baseline, and everything tells us to go long, and then it just immediately crashes. That would have been a loss right there. So we gotta be honest to ourselves. Oh no, we're losing all of our money. And then it switches to short right here. A couple days later, boom, if we get in there, I think, yep, these boom, this would have been a win. This would have been, it only retraced back about 40 pips, but eventually went down like, oh geez, 500 pips. Jeez, yeah, so it goes 40 pips back right here. Boom. ATR at that time, it was 149 pips though. Wow, these candles are getting big right here. So that would have been a win. Yay, we would have got at least another win on the board. So we're not doing too bad. And then we're looking for longs. Longs, not yet. Everything doesn't agree till about here. On this candle, we're 7 days away. Our second confirmation indicator doesn't tell us to get until right here, which would have been nice because look how long this ended up right here. Ooh, this keeps going. Oh my God. Look how long this is the trade that we would want to get in. I don't know where our trailing stop would have been, but if we could have been able to ride this all the way up until here where our exit indicator tells us, that's like 600 pips. That was in the year 2020. That is like a 3-month run right there. April, May, June, July, August. No way. We would have gotten somewhere. Our trailing stop would have got hit somewhere. And if it did, we would have got in back here as a continuation trade and then made a couple more here. So we'll take that as a win though. Huge win. I hope I remembered to calculate all these ones, but if not, then we'll go back to the tapes. And then we get a sell signal about here. We sell here. It retraces about 47 pips. Yep, about 47 pips. And then goes down to about 92, 93. At that moment, the ATR was 75 pips. So we would have won there on a sell. It would have been nice because we did get a little bit of a retraction here, so which is a good thing. So, but I'll take it. I'll take the win. All right, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. Okay, so now we're looking for longs here. We would have got in here. Ooh, that would have been a loss. Yep, that for sure would have been a loss right there. And then so we got to chalk that up as a loss. Boom, loss. And then we would have got in right here. Ooh, that sucks because no wait, we would have got in. No, yeah, we wouldn't have got in until after because our first confirmation indicator, this red arrow, didn't tell us to get in until here, and that's an immediate loss. And then it shoots back down. So, oh no, they're catching up. They're catching up. All right, and then our first confirmation indicator tells us that the trend is flipping. We get above the baseline about here. The rune agrees, So there's the absolute strength. We retract about 64 pips, and then it shoots up about 94. Okay, so on this candle, the ATR is 67. So we definitely have more than enough room to go all the way down here and then retract. We would have hit 64 somewhere around here, and then it looks like it would have hit our break even. If not, we probably could have retraced back up to here, but either way, we probably wouldn't have made too much, but it's a win. I'll take the win. And then we're looking for shorts. Shorts, everything crosses, well, the rune crosses here, but the absolute strength tells us no, which is a good thing. If we would have gotten there, that would have been a loss. I could see it already, but then everything crosses here. The rune crosses, first indicator tells us to go. We're above the baseline. The absolute strength agrees. We retract about 24 pips and then get this nice little run right here. So yeah, hell yeah, more wins. I love it. Boom. All right. Now we keep going. We get a trend flip indicator right here, but everything disagrees still up until this day. And this, we would have went back 64 pips and at the most went 45 pips. So we would have lost that because it was 57. We barely would have lost that. If we would have waited the next day and then the next day, then we might have gotten with it. But if we got in that day, that would have been a loss. So it sucks how being a day or two early or a day too late can make a big difference on whether or not you would have won that trade. So now we get an indicator switch right here to go long. We get above the baseline, and then the rune finally agrees. We get in there, retract about 15 pips, and then make a win up there. Yeah. All right, we still got wins going. It's fine. It's fine with me. And then now we switch to looking for shorts. And then boom, everything agrees about here. And then this goes down about 49 pips, 50 pips. So the ATR at that point was 70. So we wouldn't have won there. So 70, this retracts back to 76, about 76 pips. So for 75, half of that is, what is that, 30 something pips. I think we would have been okay. Yeah, we definitely would have had some space, and then it would have ran all the way back down, and then we would have hit our first take profit around here. So I think that would have been a win, right? You guys agree? Okay, boom, 21 to 12, guys. So it's not so bad. Okay, we keep going. We get long signal here on our first confirmation indicator, and then everything else agrees here, and then it retracts, never gets up to a take profit. I already could tell it before it tanks and goes the other way, because the TR is 63 pips. I think we only got to about 38, so that would have been a loss. Chalk that up as a loss. But we are looking for shorts here by this time. So if we get in here, we track about 462 pips all the way up to 85 pips right here. What's the ATR at the moment at that day? 72. So yeah, I think we would have had enough space. We would have had enough space to get there. It barely would have like almost hit our take profit. And then that looks like it would have been a win if we would have got all the way up here eventually. Yeah. That's a win. Hell yeah. And then we're looking for longs, but the rune doesn't agree up until here. That's when everything goes short. So, but it's below the line too on the second confirmation. So we most likely wouldn't have got into that. We wouldn't have got into here. We probably would have got into this as a continuation trade. And this retracts about 99 pips. The ATR at that moment was 49. So that would have been a loss. That would have been a loss. Boom. And we wouldn't have got in here. We wouldn't have got in here. We're looking for longs though, up until like this day maybe, or maybe this day. Either or, it's hard to tell when we would have got in. We probably would have got in here, and it's retracting. This might have been a loss. That might have been a loss. We'll just chalk that one up as a loss, maybe. Yeah. So let's do that. Boom. I mean, Is that enough to make a profit? 22 wins to 15 losses. So what is the ratio on that? I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. I feel like we had one huge win that ran up all the way, but 22, I don't know how do we calculate what the ratio is on that? Is it 15 divided by 22? It would have been a 68% winner right there, which is okay. We're doing really well at one point, but I guess it's still kind of a winning algorithm, but is it enough to make a decent amount of profit off of? Because most of those were 1%ers, you know, where we would hit our first take profit and then we probably would have broke even. And then all the ones we lost, we would have lost 2%. So is it a winning algorithm yet? I don't know, but you guys see it though. That was us testing the Audi CAD pair. Let me know what y'all think about it. If y'all feel like y'all can help me tweak this to get better, then by all means leave a comment. Let me know how y'all feel about it. Let me know if y'all think I might be doing something completely wrong, because I'm not a professional, so don't take any of my advice because I am just a regular civilian trying to make money in the foreign exchange market, and I'm probably like the majority of you guys that are getting into this. So don't think I'm a professional at all. This is not financial advice, so I'm just here trying to test the no nonsense forex algorithm to see if we could just make a little bit of side money, you know what I mean? Because if we get good at this, then we could eventually just do this full time once we get an algorithm going and become profitable. So I mean, if this is a profitable algorithm and we could stay consistent like this across 28 pairs, then we might be all right in the long run, you know what I'm saying? So but with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'm glad you guys made it all the way to the end, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.